Hi guys, welcome to another video tutorial with me. We are doing gouache flowers today, and this is what I will be showing you guys to do. I will be showing you how my technique to get these flowers, and then you run with it and take a page and do something similar to this. These were inspired by my recent painting of a wine bottle that ended up looking gorgeous. I know this is in the background, so you're not getting the full effect, but it is posted on my Instagram if you're interested in seeing what that looks like. So really quickly, let me talk about the supplies I'm using for this. I will be using my special feature, the Princeton Blooms number 12, an absolute favorite of mine, and then the Princeton Neptune number 6 and Princeton Round number 4 for tinier details within. Okay, I use the etcher paper over here, but I will be using my Canson XL to paint. So while I'm getting ready, I want to remind you guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as it really does help my channel grow. On that note, let us begin. So the colors, the gouache colors I'm using are those pudding cups. Himi gouache is very similar to what I'm using here. And this is my technique for painting those gorgeous, loose, fun, and dancing flowers. Okay, so I have paper towel handy on the side as well. So I'm going to be starting off by using my Blooms brush, and I got some leftover paint on this. This is where the paper towel comes in handy. And I'm going to start off by getting some of this blue right here. And I know I have tons of blue mixed on here already. That's okay. I want that whole mishmash of blues to be happening. And so I'll even get a little bit of that purple, just scraping that off and getting it onto my palette. Taking a little bit of water to kind of get it to be a little bit liquidy. And finally, a little bit of that second blue. Perfect. And now that I've gotten enough color on here, we're going to start off by doing very basic strokes using the full span of your brush and pressing down and trailing off like that. I'm going to get a little bit of that purple on my brush now. Do another stroke this way, another one this way. If you've watched my heart flowers, this is essentially what they are. And I'm going to continue doing these all around. And there we have one flower with those gorgeous different colors in them. I'm going to create another one, another stroke before I create my next flower. And I love picking up some color, some of that additional color from another color cake, just to get a nice little surprise mix in there. Sometimes I even take two, and I love the effect. So this is a quick, simple, easy little video on how I do these nice, gorgeous blooms. And the main showstopper for this is the Princeton brush. So I've listed all where you can get these products in the description below, so feel free to check that out. Or if you have a local store, art store that sells these, that also works. Getting a little bit more water. This time I'm going to add a little bit of this pink. I know some of you don't like to mix colors, and neither do I, but I'm getting a little bit more of the pink this time. Kind of really get in that nice, those nice strokes of different shades happening. And I'm just allowing this brush to do all the work. Look at the gorgeous shapes that you can get using this brush. It's just stunning. Even drop in some more of that pink in here just to sort of give it, tie it in. The only comment I would make is if you're trying to make outer petals, it gets to be a little bit too huge and large. So you need to switch or swap out for a smaller brush, but I don't mind it just because I'm I'm going very loose and I want it to just be how it lands is the result I'm getting, sort of thing. Do a couple more here. And get a little bit more of that pink this time. Add that in here. And then one more here. Lots of practice to create these beautiful flowers. And then last but not least, if you just want to do a little bit of like smaller flowers, kind of just hovering in the back. Same technique. This part will help you with a little bit of brush control, really kind of controlling your brush to get smaller flowers. And so this is what I have. I'll do one more here. And we are now moving on to leaves. Leaves, I have a little bit of green mixed here. And if you guys have been watching my YouTube, my Instagram post and reels, I mentioned something about creating a nice contrast with your colors. So if your colors are bright and beautiful, then you want for your flowers that is, then you want your greens to be a little bit more muted, creating some contrast. So I'm getting this green that I've mixed, and again we're doing similar strokes for the leaves, with the exception of me using the side of my brush right now and this sort of trailing off, and also controlling the sizing, the thickness of it. So depending on how much I press down, so if I really press down, I'm getting a nice thick leaf. If I kind of really lightly swipe, I'm getting a thinner, narrower coverage. And notice how I'm doing these, kind of giving them some movement, and I'm doing them in threes. This is precisely how I did the leaves on my wine bottle. So same thing, we're kind of repeating throughout. If I want a more fluid stroke, then I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water to kind of get that, and then continuing on my leafy journey here. Shouldn't have done that extra one, but that's okay. What I will do is do something like that. And then last but not least, do a couple here. And we've got beautiful movement happening throughout. Now you can try these with watercolor as well. I just love the texture that gouache gives you, especially when you sort of trail off. You get this nice dry sort of texture happening, which is beautiful. And last but not least, I'll do a little bit over here. It's very satisfying to do. It is as satisfying as it looks. Getting a little bit more of the light green to just do a couple at the top. We've got some here, so I think some this way would be nice. There we go. And we are done. So I want to add a little bit of detailing within our flowers. So I've mixed in some white along with the blue. And the trick is to not mix it up too much, otherwise you get too much of a pure color. So almost like getting a little bit of an additional color on the tip of your brush to then lay on the strokes. And we're just going in and lightly grazing to add these little tiny details just within our flower. Now I'm going to do most of them in the inside this way, not so much on the outskirts. Same thing here. And you're doing the same stroke where you're like lightly flicking with your hand to kind of create these loose strokes that give you those beautiful shades of, or textures rather. Gives you some nice textures. I'll do some here. Can extend some from the top as well, just to sort of give it a nice even spread almost. We're going to do a little bit of that within the leaves as well. So taking some of the white, getting a little bit of the green, I'm just going to go in and add loose strokes within our leaves. And you're adding just a little bit, almost sort of mixing it in with the leaves. And then once you have that, we're going to go ahead and create a couple of in-between flowers. So using a little bit of like a lemony orange hue, I'm going to use my number 4, and we're going to create little flower centers, or pistils rather. And I'm just essentially painting in lines and dabbing a little bit at the top. The key is to make sure your brush does have a nice fine pointed tip, so you're able to get nice thin strokes as you're doing this. And if you want to mix in a little bit of a slightly different varying yellow, you can. And then immediately the flower just pops. I love the looseness that this style offers when it comes to just allowing the colors to speak for what's happening in your image or in your artwork rather. So I've got some in there. Now I'm going to get a little bit of that happening over here. And even if you add a little bit of, say, I don't know, red maybe, it just immediately picks up. If you've got highlighting or complementary colors around it, it just adds such a beautiful effect. I'm going to add a little bit of red. Let's just see what that looks like. I love it. I'm not sure if you're able to see how it immediately kind of changes things when you kind of add a mesh, this loose addition into your otherwise plain yellow centers, but the red just immediately picks up. I got too much red over here, but I'm going to switch that over for more of our orange. Beautiful little array. And last but not least, I'm going to get a little bit more and just touch up on some of these guys on the out here. Give us that nice pop of color. So one last thing I was going to do for this video is add little filler florals. Now I already have done a video showing you guys how to do little gouache filler florals. So do this and add the little filler florals in a color of your choice, and I will show you guys exactly what mine looks like. But for now, if you choose not to do the filler florals, this is what you should have. These are the end results to my painting after adding in the tiny little flowers, the filler florals. So if you missed that video, check out the link below in the description, and I hope you end up doing this exercise and testing out the Blooms brush and your color combinations to see what you come up with. I sure enjoyed this. I hope you did too. Please don't forget to tag me and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.